An injured protester receiving critical first aid. Those gathered around him are not there to help, but to learn. This is first aid simulation training for protesters against Israel's separation wall, a new initiative launched by Physicians for Human Rights in Israel.
We wanted the people to have some confidence in themselves, that they are having some kinds of tools to handle the injuries.
At the day-long course, Israeli, Palestinian, and international activists learn life-saving techniques, including resuscitation, treating breaks, and stopping bleeding. According to Physicians for Human Rights, between 2008 and 2009, there were more than 250 injuries in demonstrations, with nearly half suffering injuries to the head or limbs, and nearly 37% of those suffering tear gas suffocation. Every week, Israelis and Palestinians gather here in Bil'in to protest Israel's separation wall. And every week, as you can see, the threat of violence increases, making the training the protesters receive that much more critical. At this week's protest, plainclothes Israeli operatives on the Palestinian side of the separation wall can be seen here, beating protesters near Na'alin after ambushing them. This rare footage captures on camera what protesters have been claiming in recent years. Israeli tactics against the protesters have become increasingly harsher and more violent. Israel's wall is a source of contention because it cuts off Palestinian farmers from their lands, divides communities, and isolates villagers. For the Israeli physicians, this training is not just about life-saving techniques.
What we are doing here is kind of solidarity actions and protesting actions against the occupation.
Earlier this year, Israeli soldiers at one of the weekly demonstrations killed Palestinian activist Bassem Abu Rahma. Today, his grave next to the separation barrier has become a rallying point at the site of weekly demonstrations and a reminder that the training these protesters are receiving can make the difference between life and death. Ayman Mohyeldin, Al Jazeera, Bil'in.